All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some LPDS universe current events, some regular world current events, I guess you could say. And we take some hotline calls, and then we have a little interesting cage fact / update for you guys, and all that's coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, show that talks about nothing, but finds the lessons in everything, and we try to have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. I have to tell you, I don't remember a lot that went on this week. For me, I was head in the sand with stuff, mostly spearhead stuff. And I wasn't really paying attention to, most other things going on around me. But I will say this, we got a little bit of a first world problem here in the LPDS universe. I'm working with plastic water bottles right now. It's still sparkling water. It's the grocery store HEB version of San Pellegrino, because apparently there's a shortage or a stock issue. That's a shortage. A stock issue of all the non-peasant waters that I like to buy. The Mountain Valley Stream, or whatever it's called. San Pellegrino. But the thing I like about them is they offer it in glass bottles. Okay, and that's not just a polyprissy pants thing of mine, just because I think it's higher society, sophistication, all that mumbo jumbo. I don't like drinking out of plastic, especially plastic bottles like this that have been shipped from central locations to the grocery stores and stored in warehouses and this and that. I don't like the idea of most of this stuff, especially just flat peasant water, which I still drink, by the way. I'll grab a rack of waters if I'm going on a road trip and stuff, because it's super cheap and it's mobile. And I need to be mobile sometimes and cheap, most times. So I'll drink it, but I'm trying to stay away from it, because the plastic situation when it comes to being embedded in our foods and I'm getting a little hippy dippy here for you guys, so bear with me. In our foods and beverages and stuff like that is getting a little out of control. It's completely unregulated, and I'm trying to minimize the crap that goes into my body. I want to be in control of the crap that goes into my body, and meaning I want to be able to choose. Like, I want pastries and desserts, and maybe a beer every once in a while, or a nice scotch, or an old fashioned, if you will. And I will, but I want to be in control of that. I want to know I'm having this ice cream or these cannolis or these cookies, and it's just whatever, sugar, flour, what have you, what other ingredient in there. I don't want weird ingredients I don't trust. I don't know what they're about. I don't want those in there. I don't want xanthan gum in the food I take in. I don't know what that is. It's also spelled with an X, and it's pronounced xanthan gum. That can't be organic and right. And I'm not a smart man, but if I can't pronounce the words of the ingredients in my food, I try to stay away from it. And when it comes to plastics and waters and what have yous and beverages, they're shipping this stuff, not always, believe it or not, most of the time, not in climate-controlled containers or warehouses or what have you. So sometimes these racks of water, even this slightly higher than peasant brand sparkling water in a plastic, it gets stored in high temperature areas. And I don't like when plastics are in high temperatures and then melting into my food. I just don't like it. I also don't like I don't wash I don't put my plastic Tupperwares in the dishwasher on for high heat wash. I don't microwave plastics when I can if I can afford it. I put it on glass. I'm trying to minimize that. I'm trying to I like I said, I'm not a smart man. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. If I can keep it as simple as possible, I know I'm going to be keeping myself as safe as possible in that regard. So, long story longer, they're out of the glass bottles. There's a shortage. I can't find them anywhere, it seems. Not the ones I like anyway. The other ones that are small bottles, it's too much money. Okay. I will spend more money on the glass bottles and the sparkling water than I would peasant water. I don't mind doing that because it gives me a little bit more peace of mind and possibly a little bit more health and wellness and longevity. But not the smaller glass bottles because you have to buy so many of them to equate to the amount of water I drink in a week. And the price point per fluid ounce is too high for me. I can't afford it. It's not financially sound. Which is a bit annoying. Again, first world problem that it's still tough to try to be healthy on a budget. It's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. I am doing it pretty well for the most part, but it is a little tougher, especially for those out there who don't like to eat the same meals every day. It's way tougher because I buy in bulk and I eat the same thing for basically every meal. And because I buy in bulk, it's much more affordable and it saves me time and money and what have you. So anyway, that's what I'm dealing with. It's not bad. The water tastes pretty good, but I can definitely tell it's been in this plastic for a little while now. Okay. Now I saved a couple bucks on it because it came in plastic and it's the supermarket brand, but I could tell the difference. I don't want to keep doing that. So if I sound sickly or unhealthy, it's because I've had to have, pseudo peasant water all week. Anyway, more current events from the world around us. I try to stay away from the politics stuff as much as I can, unless there's something funny and humorous in there. And most of the time, if there is, I can't find it because I'm not a professional comedian. But I'm sure there is funny stuff in there all the time. But everybody is talking about the Emperor Trump conviction. I'm not. I don't really have an opinion on it per se. Okay, I think I already made my piece or said my piece on how I feel about Emperor Trump and all the current candidates right now. I think, not that it matters, not that you care, not that it's anybody's business but mine. But regardless of what you feel about him, whether you want to vote for him or not, or think he's a devil or anything in between, here's what I'll say about this case. And this is coming from a guy who has not voted for Donald Trump in the past. And I know people are going to be surprised by that because I do have a lot of more conservative style opinions on things. I have a lot of liberal style opinions on things too. I try to take it all in and see what I think is works best for the country. Anyway, I'm not perfect, but I probably lean a little bit more on the conservative side of things. So I'm sure people will be surprised by that, or they think I'm lying, but I'm not. I didn't vote for him both times. I didn't vote for Hillary or Biden. That's for damn sure. I didn't vote for any of those people. I voted for who I thought was going to be the best options. Anyway, regardless of what you think of him, one, I still don't exactly know what he was being charged with and then convicted of. I've tried to ask people, and this is a little bit frustrating and maybe something that we should be a little bit more mindful of. It's really more so following the big three, number two of the big three specifically. I asked the people who were happy that he was on trial. because you think the people who are happy about it would know exactly what he's being tried for and convicted of, and they're happy about it. Most of the people that were not happy about it, they're very one-sided in what they say. Like, well, what's he being charged for? Nothing. He did nothing illegal. He didn't do anything illegal, and that's not necessarily helpful to me, because I'm trying to find out exactly what the charges were, what he did, and why they think that's illegal or not. Whatever. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to find the facts. So I go over and ask the people who are happy about it, and I either get the nicest answer I've gotten so far is that he was a piece of garbage with his wife, and he got caught sleeping with this girl, and then he stole, and then he took money to pay her off. That wasn't his money to pay off hush money for this porn star. The rest of what I got, and this is what I said, this is kind of disheartening, is if I ask the question, the immediate assumption from those people is that I am a pro-Trumper who thinks he's not guilty and trying to get these people in a gotcha moment. And then I start getting the name calling, which I don't care. Like, personally, call me whatever you want. I've had far worse done to me than being called a fascist, a Hitler wannabe, a Nazi, whatever, dude. You clearly don't know what those words mean, and you're clearly not an adult who's able to have adult conversations with somebody who has differing opinions than you. Not to mention the fact that I didn't even share a differing opinion. I asked a question. I wanted to know what the stupid bastard was being tried for. And they couldn't tell me. Like I said, the best I got was hush money for being a piece of garbage, and he's getting what's coming to him. Everything else I got was, oh, you must be a Trump supporter. You're also a piece of garbage. I shouldn't have to explain to you what he did wrong. Obviously, you're trying to defend him and blah, blah, blah. And that's what you get a lot from all extremes. If you ask a question that's not obvious for their opinion or their side, if you ask any sort of objective style question, people immediately assume you're the enemy and they shut down like children. So I still haven't found out exactly what he was being charged with. Okay. I finally talked to some lawyers and judges that I know in my personal life, people of the law, and they kind of broke it down for me. And apparently the issue was he paid off hush money to this porn star, Stormy Daniels, who some of us may know. That's not illegal. People do that all the time. That's actually not illegal. It's morally reprehensible for a lot of people, probably. But that was what is being accused. And they're saying that he used campaign finance money to do this. And he doctors his books on his business side to make it look clean. Which would be illegal if that's the case. Now, the second point, I said I had 2 points. I really have 3, I guess. The second point there is that's a misdemeanor offense. Okay? Businesses have 2 books a lot of the times. That's a misdemeanor offense. That's not a felony offense. Certainly not 34 felony charges of offenses. So I have a question why it was bumped up to felony charges and 34 of them if those are well-known misdemeanor offenses, especially for a quote-unquote first-time offender of this, which he has been. According to the law and the justice system, he hasn't been convicted of this in the past, so that would be a misdemeanor offense. I believe that politician George Santos was going through something similar, and he's not getting charged with felonies. He's the guy, the New York congressman who lied about everything on his resume, and then they found out he was stealing his campaign finance money for all his personal reasons. And he's getting busted for that now. And he's not on felony trial for that. So that's a little bit suspect, to say the least. The third big point I want to make, and again, I don't care what you feel about this guy, like him or hate him. We have to be objective about this. Every attorney, law professional, paralegal, judge, retired, whatever, that I've personally talked to, and basically most of them that you see on that the media actually puts out on television, they have all said the same thing. This should not have been a trial to begin with. And B, should not have been convicted. And a lot of people obviously are calling it a sham or whatever. So my opinion on it is I just there's a lot of question marks. And I'm sad at the fact that there's more division from it. You know, you have people that have now dug in to keep their support up for the guy even more so now. In fact, his website like crashed that day of the verdict from all the donations he was getting flooded in that day. And then the other side of the fence there are the people that are having parades in the town squares for this guy's conviction because they hate him so much and they don't care that there's questionable things that happened to get to this trial to begin with. And that's just very sad to me. My opinion is that it's all very sad that all this is going on. There are plenty of other things. If you don't like Donald Trump, there are plenty of other things you could go after him for in the legal sense that would make more sense that he has done that are legally reprehensible as well. This was not it. It doesn't seem to be it. But they found a way to make it work in their favor. They appointed district attorneys that ran on the campaign of going after Trump. They had all these, weird judges and prosecutors that were also publicly out there saying we're going to do everything we can to get this guy. So it's all very suspect, but it's just sad to me that it's all being done to help create this division. And I wish there was something we can do to stop that. And I don't know what the answer is. It started at the bottom, though. Okay, it starts with us. Unfortunately we're the bottom. The American citizens, we're the bottom. It's not going to start at the top of the highest levels of government. This is what they want. They want us going back and forth against each other about everything and anything, because while we're doing this over here, they're puppeteering their little, schemes to keep power and money and control in their favor over here. Whether it's staging military coups, staging attacks to justify going to wars, funding, money laundering through funding of wars, working with the military industrial complex companies and all that stuff, insider trading, whatever they're doing. They're all Democrats and Republicans. They're all advertising and pushing out division and chaos to us to get us hating each other. And then behind closed doors, they're all high-fiving each other and shaking hands and sleeping on piles of cash. Okay? And I know I'm the crazy person. I sound like the crazy person every time I talk about this stuff. And I don't care. I don't care if you think I'm crazy or you're rolling your eyes right now and you're tired of me talking about this stuff. It's just I'm going to keep talking about that stuff. Because it's very disheartening what's happening. We have the technical ability to come together and fight that garbage going on. How we do that is a tough question to answer. So overall, I'm very sad about the whole thing. If it was a real crime, a real felony, and he got convicted, that's also very sad and terrible that this guy is a criminal and he was getting away with it for whatever, however, so long. I don't know. Either way, I'm not defending the guy, but you could have picked a more obvious crime that he committed. This was not it. But moving on. It is Gay Pride Month, and there's a lot of back and forth about that. I don't really care. Like, I don't care in the sense that cool. I don't necessarily like anything being shoved down my face, even if I like the stuff. I think I mentioned before, when somebody tells me something, even with like a movie or a show, oh, you gotta watch this new show. It's the best show. You have to watch it right now. You have to watch it. If somebody says that to me and tries to shove it in my face, I do the exact opposite. I'll wait a decade. I still haven't seen all of Game of Thrones. I've seen a good portion of it when I was deployed because everyone was watching it. It was the last season when I was out there in Afghanistan. So it was already on in our shop anyway. But I haven't seen most of the episodes. I don't like when somebody shoves something down my face, my throat, so to speak. I'm off. I'm not into it. I'm out. So that's the only I guess annoyance about Gay Pride Month is all these companies pretend to care. They don't actually do anything for the gay community at all besides put the flags up and show, pretend to care. And then they sell their merchandise to get more money and profits out of us because they think they're tricking people into thinking they care. But they really don't. It's a business. It's a business model. It's a smart business play for the month, but it's getting a little obvious and a little tired now. So maybe they had to rethink their business models to be able to keep their successes going. So otherwise, I really don't think people should care all that much. I know there's the extremes one way or the other. The extreme pro is we need to celebrate this because it was so bad in the past that we need to make up for lost time and they need their rights and this and that. And then on the other side is this is, Satan seeping in and tricking us. And they're saying it's about equal rights, but it's really about tricking our kids and turning us into monsters and this and that and Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm probably right here in the middle. Okay. I don't necessarily know what rights the gay community doesn't have right now that are different or less than everybody else. I don't know per se. So when I hear that argument on the one side and they're like, oh, we need our rights and we're fighting for our rights and we're parading for our rights and all this, my genuine question is which ones don't you have that we can help get you? If you don't have them yet, I don't know which ones those are. I genuinely don't. The other side, it's Satan and he's sneaking in and he's tricking our kids into being gay and this and that and blah blah blah. I don't think that's it either. I think that if you just stop caring so much and just let it go, people if you look outside the media and the TV and the social medias on the internets, not every single part of this country do they have megaphones on each side of the aisle screaming at you in your face. Most of the stuff that's forcing down your throats is on the internet or the media. They're making it a big deal. And most of America doesn't care as much, I don't think. So we need to realize that. Let it go. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a big deal one way or the other. And I'm missing something. I know I'm missing something. So maybe it is and I'm wrong. But in the meantime, it doesn't affect me. Okay? I like everybody. So I'm not picking, I'm not picketing against one cause or the other. I'm not parading with one cause or the other. I don't care. It doesn't affect me at all. So I'm not going to try to waste my time complaining about the fact that all these corporations are putting up their gay pride banners on their social media for the rest of the month. Don't care. I'll just, if I care that much, I'll just turn my social media off. And I suggest you guys do the same. So happy Gay Pride Month to everybody. Now, to more important news, a couple of victories. Well, first we'll get into the first loss. Last week, I provided an update or a half update on the Embry-Riddle baseball team in the Super Regional tournament, sort of like the semifinals to get to the NCAA Division II World Series tournament, the final tournament. At the time, they won the first game of a 3-game series against the number 1 team in the nation, practically. I think they're the number 1 team in the nation. Well, after I recorded that episode, they ended up losing that series and they were knocked out of the playoffs. Hell of a run, though, because that team was projected to be last in their conference. Not just the nation, but just in their, not just last in the playoffs, but last in their conference. They ended up being third in their conference, made the playoffs, and ended up being a top 16 team in the nation, and almost made it to the World Series from a team that has dealt with a lot of hurdles and strife, and lost a lot of talent in that process. And they made it work really well. It was a great season. Commend all those guys. They had a core group of guys that was really dedicated to the cause and led their team to really a lot of success, a lot more than people gave them credit for or wanted to admit. So I'm glad that they silenced the doubters, and I know it's tough. That's ending, especially for the seniors with no more eligibility, ending your baseball life on a playoff loss is devastating. I know this because that's how I ended my baseball career, my life as a baseball player. We lost in the semifinals of the NAIA World Series. If we won that game, we were making it to the championship. And we lost, and I didn't even play in the game. Okay, I wasn't even good enough to play. And I sat in the dugout and I had my head in my towel because I knew it was all over. And then wouldn't you know it, the next day in the newspaper, all over the place, was my picture in the dugout crying with my head in the towel. And I still have that paper somewhere, but that's still talked about to this day. We're talking 14 years later. That happened in 2010. This time in 2010. I still think about that. My coach says he talks about that to every team every year. When the new guys come in, he tells them and he shows them the picture of me crying when it's all over. That's one of the only times I've been in a newspaper. The other time was a playoff game in high school where it was my senior year. We won the states that year. We rocked it. I think we were top 20 in the nation, 21 maybe in the nation at the time, so top 25. And I started one of the playoff games because our second baseman was hurt, so I got to play. And the only picture that they got was a fly ball that should have been mine. It was on my side of the infield, but the shortstop called me off and caught it. And the shortstop was Rick Porcello, who went on to get drafted out of high school, and he played for the Detroit Tigers, and he played for the Boston Red Sox, and then he played for the New York Mets, and he's a Cy Young winner pitcher. And I'm pretty sure, thinking about it now, I'm pretty sure that our head coach probably told him secretly, like, any ball that you can get to, even if it's over in second base, get to it, because I don't trust Libretti. I think he stinks. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he told him. That's why he came over and caught that ball. But the picture is him standing over on the second base side of the infield, catching the ball and me standing there like, all right, I guess you could do my job for me too. Um, I didn't care at the time because I wanted to win. I wanted to win a state championship and dogpile and get that ring. Um, and we did. We crushed. We beat every team that those playoffs by 5 or more runs. It wasn't even close. There was not even 1 ounce of competition in those playoffs. It was awesome. We beat the in the championship, we beat that team, Christian Brothers Academy, I believe it was, 19-5. We annihilated them. So those are the times I was in the paper. Anyway, hats off. Long story longer. Hats off to the Embry-Riddle baseball team. Everybody doubted them. Most everybody doubted them, except for themselves and their coach. And they really made a lot of waves. So it was a lot of good success, and I'm happy that they did. I'm sad, bittersweet, if you will. It's a bittersweet situation. I'm sad that they lost and they ended their run. But I couldn't be more proud of guys coming together against the odds. That's a great feel good. So, now some better news in the world today. First, I told everybody last week about my dumpy in the bucket test that I had to take, or that I was taken for to test for colon cancer and what have you. As well, I'm proud to announce that those tests came back negative. And for those non-medical folks out there, that means I'm clear that there was no signs of cancerous stuff in my a-hole. So I'm very happy about that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch last week's episode. I think it was called the Mount Rushmore of Actors. You can go talk. You can hear me talk about taking a dump in a box. So happy about that. The next piece of good news, I thought this was very funny. I was telling the creature about this recently as well. I think it was the TV station AMC on cable. They were playing the movie Goodfellas about the mafia, Bob De Niro, Ray Liotta, Paul Sorvino, a bunch of other stereotypical Italian actors playing in mafia movies. And for the first time recently, they put up a warning in the beginning of the movie that the movie, like, here's a warning for audience. This movie depicts racial or ethnic stereotypes of a marginalized group of people, talking about the Italians. And the internet Italians took to that, and it was very funny because everyone's celebrating. Everybody on all the Italian pages, the memes, everybody is celebrating. Like, finally, the Italians are considered marginalized again. People are asking for back pay on college tuitions and scholarships and all this other stuff. And they're in the streets laughing and high-fiving each other like, yeah, we're marginalized again. People forgot about us for years. They called us white, but now we know we're an oppressed group too, and you need to give us our pride months and our money and our whatever. And I just thought it was very funny that, and I've talked about this before, the Italians used to legitimately be oppressed and marginalized when they got to this country. I know people don't like to admit that, or they roll their eyes and say, no, they weren't. Shut up. You're just looking to be a victim. I'm not looking to be a victim. I don't give a crap. I'm happy we're not anymore. I'm happy that's not the case. I don't want to be a victim. It's a tough life to live, being a victim. But back in the day, that's how it was. And that is actually the history of Columbus Day. It's not necessarily to celebrate Columbus and how great of an Italian he was. If anything, it's kind of a not funny story, but it was kind of just a bad pick by us Italians. Because back during the days of Italians and the Irish being treated like garbage when they first emigrated over here, and that's in the history books, like I said. That's not me making this crap up. I don't want it to be true. There was a time when several Italians, I think 7 of them, all got hung in a public town. I thought it was down south. I don't remember exactly where, like Louisiana. I can't be too sure where it was. So don't quote me on that. But the Italian community was outraged about this. These people were murdered in plain sight like that, and they were asked. I don't know if it was the governor of the state at the time. It might have been the governor of the state, and then it grew to be a national holiday of like, hey, we'll honor you. What do you want to be honored? And they gave them this holiday, and they're like, who should we honor? And I know you guys have heard this story. Most of you have heard this story, but for the people who are new here and haven't, the Italians decided to pick Christopher Columbus to honor and not somebody else like I said, like Amerigo Vespucci is the Italian explorer who they named America after. And I don't know what kind of skeletons he has in his closet and why they decided to pick Columbus over Vespucci or any other famous Italian, but that's who they went with. And that's why we have and it ended up growing to a national holiday. That's why we have Columbus Day. It's because we dopily picked Columbus we had an opportunity to pick anybody and we picked Columbus. And then we come to find out later he was not only not a great person, he was also an idiot and got lost and thought he was in India the whole time. That's why he called them Indians. That's why they were called Indians. Anyway, history. So they were marginalized. And then we sort of laughed ourselves out of oppression. Most of us. There are still some people out there who get violently offensive or offended when they hear, things like Guinea or Ginzo or WAP or things like that I like. Nobody really cares about that. Most of us don't care if you call us that. WAP was a derogatory term back in the day for without papers because of the influx of Italians that came in through different avenues and not just Ellis Island. Buffalo, New York was one of them. I only know that because my grandfather, may he rest in power, was a Buffalo transplant, came in through Buffalo. The time he came in, the second time his family came in, I believe, or the first time they came in a couple times. Anyway, that's what WAP means, without papers. Guinea is like the Guinea, like the Guinea currency in New Guinea. I believe that derogatory term came because Italians were darker skin. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it came to be. And darker skin, and then like idiot racists just see darker skin and they think Africa. So that's how that came. Ginzo, I don't exactly know where the origin of that came from, but regardless, we sort of joked ourselves out of being oppressed, and these derogatory terms mean nothing to us now. I say them all the time describing myself. Everybody, all the Italians I know, we just joke about it. Most of the Italians I know just joke about it, and we have a good time. So it was very funny to see everyone's in the streets parading on the Italian side, like, oh, we're marginalized again. We get all this cool government stuff now. So I thought that was just funny. I just thought it was funny that we're back. We're back to being a marginalized group, and it's going to be great. I'm going to take full advantage of it. I don't know what's in store for us. I'm excited to see. I would love to get my tuition back paid. That would be incredible. I might submit some sort of application for that. I'll have to find out if I can do that. Anyway, I think that's all the updates I have. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to much this week. Oh, I will say Yankees. Clay Holmes. This is just a quick friendly reminder that Clay Holmes is not a good closer. Okay? Don't look at his stats to think he's a good closer. Look at the defense that saves his ass day in and day out so far. This past 2 weeks, he's done it again. He blew one save. They actually lost the game, but he didn't get credit for the loss because there was an error in the field that put some base runners on for the previous pitcher, and then they switched that pitcher out for Clay Holmes, and then the first pitch Clay Holmes throws was a 2-run double for that team to take the lead. The Angels, one of the worst teams in the league right now, took the lead and ended up winning the game And Clay Holmes not only didn't get credit for the loss, even though he gave up the hit that gave up the runs, his ERA went down. His earned run average went down because those runs weren't his. Those runs got accounted to unearned runs because of the error and the other pitcher who pitched before him who gave up a hit to get a guy on. So his stats came out better and he lost the game for them. Okay, so this is just a friendly reminder. If you're a stat guy and you're riding the Clay train hard right now, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all facade. The guy needs to get a confidence coach to build his confidence up. I'll do it. Maybe I'll write to the Yankees and offer my services to help him get there. And he needs to be a middle reliever until he can get his shit together. Because every time he goes in to pitch, everybody's uneasy. Even him, he looks uneasy to be out there. So, anyway, that's all I got for the current events. We'll get into the good stuff. We got some hotline calls on the Junction, but first, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by the Calzone Zone. Are you a pizza fan, but really prefer all the leftover pizza accoutrement stuffed into a pocket of dough that is about to be tossed in the trash because it's so stale and old? Then head on over to the Calzone Zone. The CZD has everything you want in a calzone shop, from extra greasy cheese to almost rotten olives and tomatoes, and of course their specialty, the compost calzone, a stale dough pocket jam-packed with every expired topping the shop has on hand. So to get your calzone fix today, get in the zone, the Calzone Zone. If you use the promo code Pepperoni Pocket, you get 29% off your calzone order. I'm pretty sure the Calzone Zone has sponsored us in the past. I didn't remember enough, or I didn't have enough confirmed knowledge of that to cancel the sponsorship this go around. I try to identify new sponsors so new people can get their name out there and sell their goods. But if I remember correctly, I believe after our boys' trip Syracuse adventure to go see the Wet Cat when he was living in Syracuse, I believe after that return in 2021, we had the Calzone Zone come and sponsor us. I can't remember. I didn't feel like going all the way back to listen. Like I said, this is the worst part of the LPDS for me is the sponsor stuff. I just want a sponsor to come in. I don't even want them to. I don't even have to pay me. Just come in, maybe provide me some merch, whatever they're selling, just one of those, so I can actually show it up, and then I'll read their ad read and do whatever they want. Basically, I just don't want to keep doing this. I keep having to find these seedy underbelly markets to sponsor us, and I don't like it. Anyway, the Cage fact. This is, again, more of a Cage update. We talked in March, I believe, about Jerry Bruckheimer. Is it Jerry Bruckheimer? He was doing an interview, and he was saying how National Treasure 3, that movie is still very much alive and still in the works. Well, the other guy, John Turtletaub, I don't know if that's correct at all, but the other guy involved in the other National Treasure movies has come out recently saying that the script is actively being written right now. The script is being written, and he said that it's being written for all the original characters. He didn't explicitly say Cage should return, but the original characters, you can't not. Nic Cage made the movie. It's a Nic Cage movie. So you can't not have him. You can't have somebody else play Ben Gates. That's ludicrous. That's a boycottable offense if I've ever heard of one. So he said for the original characters, and he said that we're trying to move fast because it's been so long since the last movie came out. It's also starting to get long before this, since the series came out. They had a series on Disney Plus, National Treasure, something excursion, but it was a little too woke for people, and they canceled after one season. Plus, Nic Cage wasn't in it, so nobody was watching it. So what they were saying is that they have to sort of hurry on this to complete the script and get it out to review and get going on it, because they don't want it to become completely irrelevant. It's still a hot ticket item for the National Treasure fandom. But what they're also trying to do is they're trying to understand that language and culture and things have changed in the last 14, 17 years, however long it's been since the last National Treasure came out. So they're trying to write the script to adjust for that. And it's difficult to do because you have to do it for each character, who are all going to be older characters that have to adjust to this. So I appreciate the effort there. I'm curious to see how it goes. These are the original writers. So they made 2 good movies already. I'm pretty confident they can make a third. Nic Cage is going to be in it, so I have every confidence that it's going to be a good performance there. So hurry up and get it to us. Hurry up and get us that movie so that I can watch it years later, and then certain fans can bitch at me for that and call me names while hiding behind the hotline. And then we can do our little dances, hiding behind the mic, them hiding behind the hotline, and we pretend fight all day long. It'll be a good time. It'll be good content for the LPDS. So please hurry up, finish the script, get NC on board before he retires, and let's do the damn thing. So that's the Cage fact. All right. Moving on over to the Junction. We'll spin the logo up. We got a couple of hotline calls, and then we're going to get out of here, folks. Okay? I've been blabbing too long today as it is. I've been blabbing too long recent episodes as it is. And I'm trying to not do that. So let's check out what we got on the hotline. And we'll see if we got any good stuff out here. And then we'll be on, I think it was only like 3 calls, and then we'll hopefully, be on our way. We'll get to obviously the big 3, and then we'll be on our way. So stand by.
Hey, John, when you're dealing with Union Boy, my question out to the Junction, do you think he's following the big 3 by demanding the inclusion or the expansion of the big 3 to the big 4? Or do you think that he's going to be able to use his union vocabulary to go ahead and talk his way out of he doesn't have to follow the big 3? Not trying to stir the pot or anything, but the pot's there and I got a spoon. Stay strong.
All right. Thanks for that call, anonymous caller. I don't want to make any assumptions on anybody out there in the world that I don't have an active day-to-day kind of interaction with to see, how they're doing as a human being. And I certainly don't want those assumptions to be put on me either. So I'm not going to assume that this person, that the Union Boy, is not following the big 3. I hope they are. Do I think their actions when they call the hotline, making demands and name calling and gaslighting are big 3 like? No, not necessarily. I don't think that at all. I think there is an opportunity for that person to choose to not be so negative and demanding and angry. But I know it's tough. So to give them the benefit of the doubt, that's the toughest one of the big 3 to follow, is don't be a shitty person, be a kind person, because you get emotionally involved in that particular situation, and you just want to react immediately. It happens to me on a daily basis. I see it on a daily basis. I experience it, whether it's a stupid question that somebody asks, or a stupid statement somebody says, or a disagreement between even friends, colleagues, whatever, that you get emotionally attached to your side of the situation. and you want to lash out emotionally, and it's usually always negative because you want to win. Like in that moment, you're emotionally you want to win, so you're gonna take it to whatever lengths to get that W. So I think that's what's going on here with Union Boy. I don't fault him for that. Like I said, I'm there every day. I battle with that. That's why I try to follow the big three as much as possible. But these calls don't seem to suggest that he's following the big three, when he's in the midst of these calls. So it would be, I would hope if that's the case, he would take this as an opportunity to see that and take some sort of internal inventory of why he's doing this stuff, and maybe navigate around the negativity and the demands and the anger. Like I said it before, and I'll say it again for the 15th time. Especially for his specific demands and the way he calls in Union Boy, if he just changed his approach, things could probably be a lot more effective for him. And this is, to this caller's point, if maybe you fall number 2 of the big three, you might have a little bit more luck getting what you want out of this whole do-do-do. So, thank you for that call, though. I'm not going to assume I'm not going to assume anything negative because I don't know how this guy's living in real life. I don't know enough about people's, internal struggles with things and what his stresses are and this and that. I just hope for the best. So, all right, let's get to the next call here and see what we got.
Hi, everybody. I was just wondering if maybe you would like to introduce a new segment called Slip Into the London Boy segment. Kind of like Step Into the Cage. Oh.
All right, thanks for the call, Mickey. Absolutely not. No, the obsession with London Boy is getting out of control now. Speaking of London Boy, though, I just got to that's it. Thanks for the call, Mickey. Mickey impersonator. Not doing that one. I appreciate it, though. That's an absolute no-go. I'm not slipping anything into any human being like that on a show. But I have not seen London Boy in weeks. And I might have discussed this previously a little bit of an update, but I haven't seen him in weeks. I even reached out to him via text. It was at the time it might have been a mistake, thinking like, oh, it's going to just reset the aggressive nature of his requests and harassments, but he didn't even respond. So I don't know if his cell phone service is off. I don't know if he's moved back to what I can only assume is London. I don't know, probably Poland, because we all, we know now that he's from Poland, and nobody knows why he calls himself London Boy. So I don't know. I haven't seen him walking around. There's been nobody at that house. The last time I saw somebody at that house was a couple weeks ago, and it looked like people who found, like, maybe he was selling something online, and these people were outside in the backyard looking at whatever was being sold. That's what it looked like. And then they went on their way. I didn't even see London Boy in that interaction. I don't know if I thought maybe he was hiding, like not hiding, but behind the house. And at the angle, I can only see these two people in the back of the driveway facing the backyard, and he was in the yard behind the house. But I don't know for sure. And I haven't seen him since. I usually see him taking his trash over to the random dumpsters in the neighborhood because he doesn't pay for trash pickup. I haven't seen that. I usually see him lurking and hanging around outside his driveway, just standing there. I haven't seen that. I still haven't seen any piece of evidence whatsoever to suggest he has a girlfriend made of human stuff that's alive and not like a weird voodoo doll or a cadaver. I have no evidence of that. I don't know what's going on with London Boy. I did reach out to make sure he was okay, and I have not received word back. The next thing is, I guess I'll call my neighbor and find out if he knows anything. But that's the update on London Boy. I have not all quiet on the London boy front. So, sorry, Mickey, I guess. All right. I think this is the last call here. We're really motoring through, folks, motoring through these calls. So let's get to this final one here.
Yeah, we haven't heard about the porch pirate fiasco a little bit. I'm wondering if you still feel like that gentleman is still interested in you, or if they've moved on and found some other big Italian to basically look to fondle.
All right. Thanks for that call. I appreciate you asking for an update on that. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, several weeks ago, this area, this show is just loaded with circus characters, circus freaks. That's what my life has become, and I don't know if I'm attracting it or what. But one of the circus acts that I was dealing with a couple weeks ago was this cross-dressing man who was basically following me. We encountered each other crossing paths in the neighborhood one time, and I was being nice. I said, "How you doing?" Like I do to all the neighbors I walk by, and I guess he took a liking to me. And then I saw him outside of an apartment complex, and then he practically followed me, not all the way home, but he followed behind me to see where I was going to go, what house I was going into. I haven't seen him since. I saw what I thought to be a lookalike. I can't confirm or deny if this was him or not, but I did see a black fella with a wig and a similar stature across the street from me. Same wig, by the way, same color wig. Same clothes too, by the way. I can't confirm it was him, but the same style clothes, not exactly the same clothes, but everything seemed similar to the guy I saw before, the cross-dressing guy before. He was across the street stealing a package from the front porch of my neighbor. And then him and his Mexican friend, I forgot the guy's name because the wig person said the guy's name, like Jose or something like that. So he incriminated his own wingman there in the porch piracy, and they took off. So I think that was him. That was the last time I saw him. That was 3 weeks ago, I believe, 4 weeks ago. I don't even know how long, but I haven't seen him since. So I don't know if he's moved on to another greaseball Italian. Good luck to that guy. Or if he moved out of the neighborhood, or if he actually got in trouble for porch piracy. I don't know. I feel a little safer though, because there hasn't been any shenanigans around my property, which has been good. So I don't think they're scheming necessarily some sort of long-term plan to come after me. I don't think they're that capable, mentally speaking. So I feel a little bit safer, but I have my guard up still. I'm not, you never want to get too comfortable out there in the LPDS universe. So I have my guard up a little bit. I want to make sure that I'm still protecting myself and my family, Randy. So that's what we're going to do. But that's all I got today, folks. A lot of ranting and raving. While I'm sad of the political climate going on in this country, I try to, at least myself, put out, things that are going to help unite us. And I pray that we all do the same. And I am hopeful that the pendulum will swing back. The only thing I'm nervous of is it going to be too late with all the stuff going on. Hopefully not. Hopefully the pendulum swings back. I am hopeful. I know the pendulum will swing back and we'll start to come together again. When is that going to be? I don't know. I hope that happens sooner rather than later. But I will say this, tinfoil hat time, really quick because I forgot, but I want to make mention of it because, again, I wish the LPDS predictions were on DraftKings or FanDuel or something that you could place bets on it, because everybody would be very wealthy. One of the things I mentioned that was going to happen during election year, I mentioned some sort of social justice chaotic mess was going to happen. Last election, it was the George Floyd BLM stuff. The election before that, it was what was in 2016? I forgot exactly what the riots were for that. Women's rights, maybe? No, I don't exactly remember, but there was that. This year, it's the Israel Hamas stuff and all the protests going on at the colleges. Okay, we talked about there's going to be like an economic issue. I haven't seen anything too drastic about that just yet, besides the fact that our economy is kind of garbage right now. It's been for 3 years. So expect more from that coming soon, inflation, all that stuff. Then I said an enemy of, or not immigration, but border crisis, which has already come true. It's been a problem for a long time now. So border crisis going on. And then we're going to make an enemy of another nation state or some, near peer World War III impending doom is going to happen. That was my fourth prediction. And with that has come, I think it was Fox News. I think I saw a bunch of clips from Fox News, maybe CNN and MSNBC as well. I don't remember. But they're hemming and hawing about China is saying that they're going to go after Taiwan. And if the U.S. comes in to protect Taiwan, it's going to be all out World War III. And the media has been pumping that up to make it seem like it's inevitable, it's about to happen, as if we're not already in World War III already with the Ukraine and the Gaza stuff going on and all this other crap going on around the world. Now, if China does this and we come in and defend Taiwan like we say we're going to, China's going to come after us and all hell's going to break loose. And that's what they've been pushing recently, is that this is World War III is coming. And just like we predicted, there's going to be some sort of crazy World War threat. So I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I don't know enough about it till I didn't look into it too much, only because we knew it was going to happen. So I feel like by November, I don't think World War III is going to happen. I really don't. I don't think it's going to be like that. Something in my gut tells me that this is just to create chaos and division again, to get us all crazed and vote for one of two teams. So with that, I hope the pendulum swings back and we can unite and fix that and stop hating each other when we're on the same team. There's not two teams. There's one team, America. We're all on the same team, folks. So anyway, before we go, big three, very quickly. 3 pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine human being, and spreading that goodness and positivity throughout the land. Number 1, exercise every day. Do one thing every day to improve your fitness physically, mentally, or emotionally. So whether it's a workout, going for a walk after a meal, doing jumping jacks while you watch TV, or breaking the mental sweat, reading a book, doing a crossword, some puzzles, taking on a new hobby, or an emotional exercise, praying, meditating, breath work, what have you. Do one thing every day to improve your health and wellness physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number 2, the toughest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. It is very tough to do, because when the opportunity arises, and even if you think you're justified in responding negatively to someone, even if you think they're a piece of garbage and they deserve it, it's tough because we're emotionally invested now. And it's tough to detach from our emotions, but that's what I'm asking you to do. Take the LPDS step back, attach from your negative emotions in those particular situations, and the best thing you could do at a minimum is just not engage. Remove yourself from those situations. And so that way you can minimize the shit and negativity going on in the world, and you can now have the freedom and capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives. Very difficult to do in the moment, believe me. Number 3, the most important one, Be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. Actively think about it. You can start it off by thinking about one good thing, or as soon as you wake up in the morning, think about one good thing in your life each day. And then think about what your life would be like without that thing and how shitty your life might be, or shittier your life would be without that thing. And then pick another time throughout the day. And then another time. And eventually, you're going to be actively thinking about the good in your life and living in that state of gratitude far more often than you're going to be taking things for granted. And if you do that, and you couple it with not being a shitty person, and you couple that with exercising every day, I promise you, you're going to be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine human being. You'll be able to spread that positivity and goodness throughout the land. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and put those notifications on. Tell your friends and enemies. Hit the hotline 202-670-1114. So we can get more calls. It could be troll calls. It could be comedy bits you want reviewed. It could be questions you have. It could be ideas for polls, for LPDS poll questions. Whatever you want, send it over. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.